Good morning, everyone. Good morning, everyone. I'm David Corey with the Emotional Intelligence Training Company. I'm here with my colleague, Kim Cairns, and we're here to kick off a new series. And the importance of this series is that while we talk a lot about a collaborative way of working together and partnering with each other for greater success, a lot of what we do is the sage on the stage idea, where we tell you what we know about our various areas of expertise. Well, we wanted something different. We wanted a collaborative video series. And so what we want is we want to work with you and sort of allow a forum for sharing of your knowledge, experience, and expertise with emotional intelligence. Kim, you want to talk a little bit about how we came up with this idea?
Well, good morning, everyone. Thanks for joining us today. What we talked about was just this notion of trying to cram as much information as we possibly could into our half-hour videos, and I think that has been beneficial for some folks. But what we're taking a look at doing is going back through all 15 competencies, all 15 EQ competencies, and having it be in a more interactive fashion. And also talking about some of the struggles that we have both faced in our work. We want to hear about the struggles as well as the successes. We want a full-bodied look at how do we actually operationalize this tool to the best possible benefit of the people that we're working with. And how do we continue to grow and learn as people that are working in this field. So we're going to try and make it a lot more conversational and definitely a lot more interactive. What we really want to do is hear some of your stories. So what we've got in mind at this point is 2 weeks from now we will be starting with self-regard. So in this coming 2 weeks, what we'd like to hear are some of your stories around self-regard, both from a personal perspective. If you have some great stories about how you've been going to work on your own self-regard, how your self-regard has been jarred a bit at times, how did you bounce back from that? And also stories about the people that you've been engaged with in work and working specifically on self-regard. Some of their stories, some of their struggles, some of the directions taken, and the adjustments that had to take place to actually make things click. And so we'll be reading some of those emails every week and talking a bit more about it. You'll have a chance to still ask questions as we do the broadcasts. But we just want to see a lot more flow back and forth, both between Dave and myself and with you folks out there.
And we'd love your input this morning. So we encourage you to use the Twitter hashtag EQ&U. So you can tweet us at that hashtag, and you can use the chat box on the Hangout where you can type in your input, your questions, your suggestions, your ideas for how to make this show a really useful and interesting and entertaining piece. I heard Kim talk about the usefulness of the tool. Well, I think what you meant, Kim, there, I think there's two references there. One is the assessment tool, the EQI, which we use in our work, and we try to get measures of where people are at with respect to each of the 15 competencies of the MHS model. But there's also the model, and how that as a tool can be used to help understand our behavior better, to understand the behavior of others better, to understand where we can improve, and also in various situations that we're in. What would be a really good EQ competency to draw upon in order to help us to be more effective in any given situation? So I'm just going to check. We've got two features here. We've got the Q&A feature, where you can type in your questions, and we've got a question. Is this live now? Yes, it is live now. Thank you very much for the question, Judith. And of course, the recording will be up for those who weren't able to join us this morning. in order to introduce the series to them so they'll understand a little bit more about what we're doing, that this is going to be different than our previous run through the 15 competencies where Kim and I chatted about our experience. So you got two perspectives, and we had some great questions, and that was good. But really, we really want to hear from you. We really want to know, again, I mentioned this in one of my intro pieces, we want the good, the bad, and the ugly of each of the 15 competencies. So with respect to self-regard that we're going to be talking about in 2 weeks, what are, you may also get a little bit of self-disclosure. We'll talk about our own struggles with EQ and the areas that we've had to develop ourselves and try to be better at in order to be more effective and as part of the journey of life. And these are the things that we want to share. And we want to know about you. And if you feel like self-disclosing, great. If you want to tell us about some of your struggles with the work that you do, with various clients that you've had, in order so that we can all learn, and so that we can all learn together and be on this journey collaboratively together in partnership, which is one of the main ideas that we really push with companies, to try to encourage them to move away from that command and control, autocratic, authoritative model, which actually doesn't work with human nature, and go with what does work with human nature, and that is true partnership. So this is the idea. So be sure to use our Twitter hashtag, which is hashtag EQandU. And you can email us your stories and your input and your ideas and suggestions. And again, you can use the Q&A or even the chat box there over on the side. So please remember to do that.
And just a little reminder there, Dave, it's David at eitrainingcompany.com and Kim at eitrainingcompany.com. So just direct your emails to either one of those addresses. The other part that we'd like to mention this morning as part of this just introduction to our new way of operating is what we're intending to do is take a look at all 5 composites. So what we're going to do is proceed through the first 3 competencies in the first composite, and then we're going to have a little break. We'll have a one broadcast that we're not quite sure what it's going to be about yet. So any ideas that you have for those interim broadcasts that might be of benefit to you, what you'd like to see happen, if you could send those ideas in, that would be fantastic.
We hope to interview some of you and find out some of the fantastic work that you're doing. We hope to interview some of the interesting people we've met in our journey. And as you know, we've met wonderful colleagues and clients all over the world, and we'll have them share a little bit about how things are going. We're going to check back in with Botswana and find out from people who are on the technical team there, who are working on implementation of the course that we created for them. We'll ask for some volunteers there to be volunteered about their experiences in implementing emotional intelligence development programs in Botswana. We'll go back to some of the more technical places that we've been, some of the PhD scientists who are using emotional intelligence in making their teams more effective and working with their colleagues. And we encourage you to nominate people to be interviewed. Who do you know that's doing great work in this area? What are they doing in the area of emotional intelligence and EQ development? And we want to learn from each other and create that kind of forum. Kim, what else do we want to tell our folks here?
Well, I think the interesting part there is about actually doing those interviews, Dave. And one thought that came to my mind as you were saying that was, any of you folks out there that would like to be interviewed, by all means, get your names in. And I think the other part that is ongoing for us is taking a look at the work that we're doing. And some of you are familiar with some of that work, some more than others. But any thoughts you have about any other courses you'd like to see EITC delivering? What would be of benefit in terms of your ongoing training and development, in terms of specialized courses in the areas that you are working in? that kind of feedback and information is invaluable to us as we move forward. So any thoughts around that would be very welcome.
Absolutely. And I just want to reiterate, you don't have to be a professional in this area. You don't have to be working at EQ development or emotional intelligence programming to join in the conversation. Every human on the planet has a story to share, examples of excellent emotional intelligence demonstrated, and examples where people messed up and where they made a terrible situation worse, etc. So we all have those experiences and those stories and those examples of emotional intelligence, and think about our themes. We'll be sure to post the themes, basically what in terms of the order that we've chosen and the order we chose last time when we went through the 15 competencies. We started at 12 o'clock on the wheel model of emotional intelligence that is owned by Multi Health Systems, based on the original work of Dr. Reuven Bar-On, updated in 2011. And we just start at the top, and the very first one is self-regard, and self-regard is an interesting one to start with because it is one of the first competencies to develop. That as infants, we are sent various messages, and we're told about our worth, our value. We're taught how to regard ourselves. And then through our growth and development, we take in various messages and we adopt certain beliefs about ourselves, and that is largely our self-regard. And of course, we can improve the way we regard ourselves if we choose to. And we'll talk about that. We'll talk about how do you help someone to develop their self-regard, and what sorts of things that have you found that have worked well for you. And what sorts of things don't work well when talking about improving one's self-regard. So let's have that discussion. We'd love to hear from you. I'd love to know more about the kinds of suggestions and ideas and stories and examples that you have for us. What else, Kim?
I can't think of anything else right now, Dave. We definitely want to inject some humor into this process too. We don't want to have this kind of stern approach to EI because, you know, humor is an important part of emotional intelligence. So just as a reminder to that, I've been steadfast in maintaining my amateur status throughout my life too. So that's just in reference to Dave's comments about you don't have to be a professional. I think there's something about the notion of all of us being lifelong learners, and we hope to bring that to these broadcasts in a big way, and you all can play a major part in helping us do that.
Right, and just for some of you who maybe don't know us, we started working in this area in 1998. And we are one of the first companies that were set up specifically to specialize in the area of emotional intelligence skills development, and we've been working with companies and post-secondary organizations, in every labor sector that you can imagine. We've been invited to come in and create workshops for managers, for frontline employees, for tradespeople, for every level and every walk of life that you can imagine. And so we're going to share some of our experiences, but again, as I mentioned, you know, we really want to include you, and we really want to know from you what sorts of topics are interesting to you, etc. So please join us. As Kim mentioned, our next session on self-regard will be July 17th. We'll be tweeting about it. We'll be sending out reminders on LinkedIn and Facebook, and again, we really need your input. We really want your input, and so please send us your stories and your examples, etc. We don't need to carry on for the full half hour today. We really wanted to just introduce you to the concept for the new series, and just really hope you join us as we move forward. We will our episodes will be approximately half hour in future, And as Kim said, we're gonna mix that up and have some special programs mixed in there, interviews with special people. We may bring you some breaking news on some new product or something to that effect. And so we really hope you join us then. So parting words, Kim, before we say goodbye to the good folks.
Well, I hope everybody's having an enjoyable summer, as this broadcast is taking place in the summer. And may you all continue to flex those EQ muscles on a regular basis.
Thanks, Kim. And so for myself, David Corey with the Emotional Intelligence Training Company, coming to you from Calgary, Alberta, and my colleague and good friend, Kim Cairns, who is coming to you from beautiful Victoria, British Columbia. We'll say goodbye to you, and we really look forward to seeing you July 17th. We'll read your stories, we'll read your emails and your questions, and take all of your comments at that time. So thanks very much for joining us this morning, and we'll see you in 2 weeks. Bye for now, everyone.
Bye, folks.